You know what's wild? You work hard all year, crush your goals, get a solid performance review, and your boss gives you a 3% raise. And it feels good for about a week. You feel validated. You feel like your hard work paid off. But here's what nobody tells you. That 3% raise isn't moving you forward financially. It's actually keeping you stuck. And the reason why is so subtle that most people never figure it out until they've wasted decades chasing races that look like progress but are actually just treading water. My name is Chris, and I spend way too much time analyzing the math behind financial decisions, and what I've discovered is that small raises, the 2, 3, 4% annual bumps that most companies give out, are one of the most effective tools for keeping employees financially dependent while making them feel like they're advancing. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly how this trap works, why it's so psychologically powerful, and what you actually need to do if you want to break free. Let's start with the math, because this is where the trap is hidden. It's like 3% raise sounds reasonable, right? It's the national average. It's what most companies budget for, but let's break down what 3% actually means. If you're making $60,000 per year, a 3% raise is $1,800 annually. That's $150 per month. After taxes, that's maybe be $100 per month, or about $3 per day. $3 per day, that's less than a coffee. That's what a year of hard work and a solid performance gets you in actual spending power. And here's the kicker. Inflation over the last few years has been running at 3 to 4% or higher. So your 3% raise isn't even keeping pace with the cost of living. You're actually losing purchasing power while feeling like you got ahead. But it gets worse, because once you get that raise, what happens psychologically? You feel like you earned a reward, so you give yourself permission to spend a little more. Maybe you upgrade your car, maybe you move to a slightly nicer apartment, maybe you just relax your budget discipline because you're making more money now, and suddenly that $100 per month is gone before you even noticed it. You know, you're not saving more. You're not investing more. Your net worth didn't move, but you worked all year for that raise, so it feels like you made progress. This is the trap. And small raises create the illusion of forward momentum while actually keeping you locked in place financially. And here's why this is so effective from an employer's perspective. Small annual raises keep you just satisfied enough that you don't leave, but not wealthy enough that you gain independence. You feel appreciated, you feel like you're being rewarded, you feel like if you just keep doing good work, the next raise will be the one that really moves the needle. But it never is, because the system isn't designed to make you wealthy. It's designed to keep you productive, loyal, and dependent. And it works because most people never run the actual numbers. They just see 3% raise and feel good about it without calculating what that actually means for their financial future. Let's compare this to what actually moves the needle financially. If you want to make real progress, you need income jumps of 20, 30, 50%, not 3%. And those kinds of jumps almost never come from annual raises at your current employer. They come from job changes, career pivots, starting a side business, or developing skills that are dramatically more valuable than what you're doing now. But here's the problem. Chasing those big jumps requires risk, discomfort, and effort. You have to interview, you have to learn new things, you have to bet on yourself. Small raises let you avoid all of that. They let you stay comfortable, stay safe, and feel like you're progressing. And that's exactly why they're so dangerous. Here's how this plays out over a decade. Let's say you start at $60,000 and get a 3% raise every year for 10 years. After 10 years, you're making about $80,000. Not bad, right? you got a 33% increase over a decade. But let's compare that to someone who started at 60,000, stayed in the same job for 3 years, getting the same 3% raises, then switched companies for a 20% bump, stayed there for 3 years, then switched again for another 20% bump. After 10 years, that person is making over $110,000. That's a $30,000 per year difference every single year for the rest of their career, just because they were willing to make 2 strategic job changes instead of accepting small raises and staying put. And it's not just about the money, it's about what that money enables. The person making 80,000 after 10 years is still living paycheck to paycheck if they inflated their lifestyle even slightly. They still need the job. They still can't take risks. They're still dependent. But the person making 110,000, if they kept their lifestyle reasonable, they're saving $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per year. They're building real wealth. They're gaining independence. They're creating options. And the gap between those 2 people started with the same job, the same starting salary, and the same skills. The only difference was that one person accepted small raises and stayed comfortable, while the other one pursued strategic moves that felt risky but created real financial progress. So what do you do about this? First, you have to stop viewing annual raises as meaningful financial progress. They're not. They're cost of living adjustments at best and psychological pacifiers at worst. Appreciate them, sure, but don't mistake them for wealth building. Second, you need to pursue real income growth, which means big jumps, not incremental raises. That typically means changing jobs every 3 to 5 years, especially in your 20s and 30s when you're building your career foundation. Every job change should come with at least a 15 to 20% income increase, or it's not worth the switch. Third, you need to develop skills that are dramatically more valuable than what you're currently doing. That might mean learning a new technology, getting a certification, or pivoting to a higher paying field. The goal is to make yourself 10 times more valuable, not 3% more valuable. And finally, you have to break the psychological dependency on your employer's approval. Small raises keep you attached to your current employer because they make you feel seen and valued. But that feeling is keeping you from pursuing opportunities that would actually change your financial life. You have to be willing to bet on yourself, take calculated risks, and pursue growth that feels uncomfortable, because comfortable growth isn't real growth. It's just an expensive way to stay stuck. Look, here's the reality. If you're relying on annual raises to build wealth, you're not going to build wealth. You're going to work for 40 years, feel like you did everything right, and end up with a decent retirement savings, but no real financial freedom. But if you reject the small raise trap and pursue strategic income growth through job changes, skill development, and career moves that actually matter, you can compress decades of progress into a few years. The choice is yours, but you have to see the trap for what it is first. And now you do. If this video helped you see how small raises are keeping you stuck and what to do about it, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. And if you're wondering why most people hit their financial ceiling earlier than they think, check out why most people peak financially in their 40s. I'll see you in the next one.